Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my homemade Play-Doh recipe for my little one to play with. It is so much better making homemade Play-Doh at home than the bought stuff. This is a couple weeks old and it's still exactly the same as it was when I made it. It's so soft, it's not sticky, it doesn't dye your hands. It's also all food ingredients, so if they accidentally eat it, it's not a bad thing. It does taste very salty. There's a lot of salt in it, so you don't want them to eat it, but if they do, there's nothing toxic or anything in it. And I just store it in Ziploc bags, kind of by color, and it stays good for quite a while, like over a month. It kind of just depends on how often you're taking it out and playing with it and whatnot, but it is good for quite a long time, and it is so much better than the bought stuff. It doesn't get all hard, and it's super easy. You probably have most of the ingredients at home. The only ingredient that sometimes people seem to not have is the cream of tartar, but once you get it, then you will have it, and I do use it in some other recipes as well. Keep watching, and I will show you how I made this. Okay, I'm going to get a pot, like a saucepan that you can put on the stove after. And I'm gonna start by adding 2 cups of flour and 2/3 cup of salt and 4 teaspoons cream of tartar. I'll also put the ingredients in the description below. Okay, if you're unsure of what cream of tartar is, this is what it looks like here in Canada. So it's like in a little box. Okay, so I have those 3 things in here and I'm just going to whisk it together. And then lastly, all we need is 2 cups of water, the dye for whatever color you want to make, and the vegetable oil. Okay, so I have 2 cups of water, and what I do is I add the dye to the water before I add it in. It means that this whole batch is going to be one color. If you don't want to do that, you just don't add the dye yet, and once you make the Play-Doh, you can divide it, then add the dye and mix it up with your hands so you have more colors, if that is how you prefer it. I just don't love mixing the dye in once it's already made, and my little one doesn't care too much about having too many colors, so you can use any kind of food coloring that you have. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that in. We're going green because St. Patrick's Day is coming up. I'm just gonna mix that up. And then add this to my flour and salt mixture, as well as 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Start whisking. So I'm gonna whisk this up, and then I'm going to go to the stove and put this on medium heat and heat it up. It's going to be really clumpy. Don't be alarmed by the clumps. They do go away. So I'm just gonna, it also looks like so crazy because it looks like I'm making some sort of crazy Nickelodeon slime right now. So I'm gonna bring it to the stove and just keep whisking. Okay, so now it starts to get really clumpy, and it also starts to smell like Play-Doh. Like, you kind of know because it starts to smell like how you would expect it to. This only took a couple minutes to get here, and I'm just gonna keep going. And it just kind of continues to get really thick and clumpy. Okay, so now I just put it in a big hunk on the table. You can also do this on a cutting board if you don't want to get green all over your table or whatever color you're doing. And then I just kind of work with it and knead it. It is kind of hot, so it is not quite ready for a kid to play with it yet because it is still hot and messy at this point. So this is still for an adult to do because you just need to get it into a nice, and I just kind of knead it together. And as it cools, it also kind of takes shape a little bit better and will stop making your hands green. And then you are left with this beautiful Play-Doh. Okay, at this point, I let it cool before I let either my child play with it or I store it. And I just put it in a Ziploc bag, make sure it's closed all the way, and then it stays good for quite a while. And once you let it cool, like, it doesn't get on your hands anymore, and it's just a really nice consistency, and it stays this soft, which is great. Play-Doh is apparently very important in child's development in their fine motor skills. Playing with Play-Doh is a great way to get them using those muscles and strengthening them. So I like to always have some Play-Doh ready to go for activities, especially in the winter when it's cold and we can't do outside activities. Play-Doh is great. I just set up the table with rolling pins and cookie cutters or whatever type of stuff you have at home. We make steaks and different things. It's just fun to play with Play-Doh. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial on how to make Play-Doh at home. It's super easy and it is really, honestly, great Play-Doh. My mom did this for us when we were kids. We always had so much homemade Play-Doh, and she would let us just take our entire thing of cookie cutters and we would have so much fun for hours playing with Play-Doh. So I was like, I need to also do this now that I'm a mom. So I love making the homemade Play-Doh. Right now we have yellow and green because I thought those would be fun colors for the month of March because it is St. Patrick's Day coming up and spring. So I kind of like to get themed with the colors based on the time of year, but you can really do whatever you like and have lots of fun with this activity. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.